Hey guys, Acer Thorn here. Currently I can't make a video with very much editing because my desktop computer broke down and I'm currently on a backup laptop that only has a dual-core processor and 4 gigs of RAM, so I'm pretty much limited to only the most basic editing at this point. But I really had to make this video because, frankly, this situation just gets more frustrating by the day. I am just left shaking my head at this, and I just feel like I just gotta get something off my chest here. You know, earlier today, the YouTube channel known as Upper Echelon Gamers, or maybe he's recently changed his name to just Upper Echelon. He said a few months ago that he was considering doing that. I haven't exactly checked, and I'm not going back to check. Basically, over 400, possibly over 500,000 subscribers now, made a video about me, and basically his title of the video was about as inflammatory as you could possibly get. The complete insanity of Acer Thorn versus everybody. Now, I even posted a comment that I felt was pretty respectful and professional on his video. Unfortunately, it seems that YouTube has automatically deleted that comment for reasons that only the YouTube algorithm can know. But here's the gist of it. Here's the gist of what I posted on the comment section of his video, is that I am just left increasingly shaking my head at the way the situation has developed, and not just because people aren't taking my side, but because so few people have even attempted, have even so much as tried to reach out to me to get my side of the story. People seem to be fine vilifying me after hearing only one side of the story. But literally, I think I can count on one hand the number of people in the past 6 or 7 months who have actually contacted me, not just to harass me. Thousands of people have harassed me, but to actually just ask me questions and to get my side of the story before they actually make up their minds. No, it's almost always just go straight to vilifying me. And just as an example of the sort of blatant falsehoods that people believe, primarily due to them not reaching out and getting my side of the story, Upper Echelon, the title of his video is Acer Thorn versus ellipse everyone. Basically, I know, without even having to watch the video, I already knew what he meant by that I sue everyone. Put simply, that is not true. There are plenty of people, just in the past couple of months, honestly, who have been quite unpleasant towards me, but I have not sued them. You know, obviously you can't see that I didn't sue them because you can't see a lawsuit that doesn't exist, but that's also the sort of thing that would have been quickly and easily cleared up if you had just asked me for my side of the story before you jumped to conclusions and reached your own decisions about me. I have to wonder. Last year, during the fall, when Kretosis did his video about my Fallout New Vegas retrospective, when he did his 2 streams on that, I had several weeks go by where people were like, hey, are you still ducking Kretosis? Are you still avoiding having to respond to him and shit? Basically calling me a coward because I wasn't willing to engage with that toxic piece of shit. And yet, here you are, just just making your own determinations based on partial and extremely one-sided sides of the story without even attempting to contact me to see if you can get my side of the story, to see if maybe, just 1 in a million chance, there might be more to it than what these biased sources on the other side are letting on. You know, I'm starting to wonder, instead of me being the one ducking other toxic shitheads who are only looking to cuss me out for its own sake, I'm starting to wonder, maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you're the ones who are ducking me. I certainly can't think of any other reason why it would be why so many people, especially so many large-scale YouTubers who supposedly take their journalistic integrity very seriously, would so consistently fail to even make even the slightest token of attempt to reach out to me and entertain even the possibility that I might have a valid point too. Because, let me tell you, I said earlier that I can count on one hand the number of times that anybody has actually reached out to me and even given me a chance to tell my side of the story. There have been a couple, and you know what has usually happened when they've done that? They usually come out of it respecting me a whole lot more, and not just because I spoke up, but because the things that I said actually showed them that I am not the one-dimensional monster that they say that they've heard I was. Like, for example, and remember, I said that I'm reduced to minimal editing here, so the transition's gonna look like shit. But take a look at this screenshot. Yeah, somebody actually confronted me about that assault charge, and I'm not going to go into detail here because I'm not going to talk about my personal life on this channel. This channel is Acer Thorn, not, you know, that other name, okay? This is Acer Thorn. Anyway, he confronted me about that charge, happened years ago, and I have repeatedly insisted that I was not convicted of it. And so he showed me some random-ass letter that happens to be on court record, where somebody whose profession just happens to begin with a J said that I was convicted, and they treat that like it's the be-all, end-all. Like, they didn't even show the judgment of guilty, since there was no judgment of guilty. They just showed one guy who said that he thought I was convicted, and they treat that as sacrosanct. So what did I do? I produced a court transcript from a civil trial, not the criminal case. That case has been sealed away. It's no longer accessible to the public, so I couldn't get a transcript from it, even if I wanted to. But I did get a transcript from a related case from around the same time period that was being overseen by the same judge who oversaw my criminal case. And he basically said, no, Mr. Acerthorn's real name was not convicted. He neither pled guilty nor was found guilty to those charges. So yeah, he says he found something online that said I was convicted. I countered that with basically the closest thing we can get to a primary source that hasn't been sealed away from the public. And so I offered that to rebut his let's just call it what it is. It was blatant hearsay evidence. And yeah, he basically sent me the email that you see on screen right now. Basically, I got him to change his tune. Oh, and it doesn't end there either. There's this guy. Since I can't log into Discord at the moment, I can't show you the screenshots. But basically, we had a phone call on Discord, and he basically interviewed me. I did keep a recording of the audio, so I can play a short clip. Now, we did agree that when he made this interview, he was going to get dibs on first publication. Unfortunately, he's still trying to teach himself how to do video editing. And the weirdest part is, I even offered to do the editing for him so that he could get it out quicker, and he said no, he wants to teach himself how to do this so that he'll have that skill in the future. Which, fine, but can you please hurry up and get it published already? Anyway, I want to play a brief clip from that interview, because I did keep that much, and I even uploaded it to YouTube, so even though my desktop is broken, I can just download it all over again. And I want you to listen to what he says. And if you think that's scummy of me, then you can go ahead and think that's scummy of me. I don't really give a fuck what you think.
Well, it's not really that scummy the way you put it, because...
Yeah, he's actually impressed, because when I actually give my side of the story, it actually comes off as me being a reasonable human being, doesn't it? Yeah, so yeah, in the rare event somebody actually reaches out to me and asks for my side of the story, they usually seem pretty satisfied with what they get. I usually seem to do a pretty good job of justifying my actions. But people like Upper Echelon and Sid Alpha, people who just don't even, who allegedly take their journalism very seriously, yet don't even purport on their face to follow any sort of journalism code of ethics, because the vast majority of them say that whenever you run an article about that is accusatory against somebody, you're supposed to reach out to that person and get their side of the story first, or at least give them the opportunity to tell their side of the story. And yeah, these people who claim to take their journalism very seriously haven't even tried that. In fact, with Upper Echelon, I distinctly remember a few months ago reaching out to him personally, only to try and tell my side of the story before the other side managed to pollute the air, which ends up being exactly what they ended up doing, and I got no response from Upper Echelon in any way, shape, or form. I mean, what's up with that? So I'm sorry, but I can think of only one explanation left. I'm not the one stalking you. You're the one stalking me. You all are the cowards who seem to think that, who seem to be afraid that if I manage to get a voice, if I manage to get even 5 minutes of screen time to tell my side of the story, you're all your case against me was gonna end up crumbling at the foundation. And no, me doing a solo thing like this is not me getting a proper platform, and I'll tell you why. Because if I do something like what I'm doing here, where I just talk into a microphone and nobody's there to contradict me, nobody's there to offer any sort of cross-examination or request any sort of clarification of what I'm saying, then the harassers, who already have their minds made up about me, are just going to play the role of cross-examiner themselves, except they really have no, except because they've already got their minds made up, they're just gonna, and they may not even realize that this is what they're doing, but it is what they're doing. They're gonna just take everything, even the slightest thing that I say, take even a sentence fragment, let alone a whole sentence, let alone the entire section where I actually make my point. They'll just take one section at a time, and they'll technically address the whole thing, but they'll address it one section at a time, with each little sentence fragment compartmentalized away from one another, stripped of all the actual context in which it was originally given, and then they'll just point out the dumbest things the most technical of errors that I might have made. And even though I actually provide the very clarification they requested, they said even if like literally 10 to 20 seconds later I provide exactly the sort of clarification or rebuttal that they say I don't provide, then they'll just take that and take it in its own little bubble. And I've seen this happen many times before. With Kratos, obviously, he does that. That's practically his MO. He just takes everything in their own little vacuum, rather than considering the points I make as a whole and then rebutting the whole thing. Yeah, he does that all the time, and there are plenty of others who do that, and some of them may even realize that they're doing it. Some of them may know full well that they're doing it and just simply don't give a fuck. But you see, that's what would happen if I were just flying solo like this. But if I had an impartial, and that is an important factor there, impartial third party, either playing as a referee between me and one of the others, or just being an interviewer who keeps an open mind until I've told my side of the story, then yeah, we can. Then when I say something, when I make a point, they'll sit there and listen. They won't just keep pausing the video every 3 to 5 seconds just to point out how stupid I am and how stupid my voice sounds. They'll actually sit there and listen for minutes on end, and then when I actually finish my point, they'll have lines like,
"Well, it's not really that scummy the way you put it."
Yeah, and when you're doing your reaction videos, and you're responding to that just as much as you are responding to me, it's suddenly a lot harder for you to feel all smug in saying that I'm just a crackpot. Because now you have an impartial person who has an advantage over your point of view by reason of him being impartial, whereas you're not. And he's actually agreeing with me on some points. Not all points. Like when that interview finally goes up with that guy, we're gonna respectfully agree to disagree on some issues. But he also acknowledges that I'm not just the Hitler of 2022 that everyone says I am. It's almost like people are more complex than that, isn't it? So, 17 and a half minutes in, I'm gonna just say this. I am not the villain here. I am very much the victim. For over a year, I have been harassed constantly by people who really just make no effort to hide the fact that they're malicious motherfucking twats. Oh, and I've tried lesser extreme means besides suing them. I tried that. I tried just blocking them and moving on. They just create new accounts and harass me again and again and again and again. So when I block them and that still doesn't work, what do you expect me to do then? No, it's clear what all of you want isn't for me to respect fair use. I'm not the one abusing the DMCA. You're the ones abusing fair use. I'm not using the DMCA as a cudgel for a purpose it wasn't designed for. You're the ones using fair use as a cudgel for a purpose it wasn't designed for. No, you're just doing this so you can harass me. It's not so you can criticize my work. It never has been. From day one, you have made it perfectly clear that your only ambition is to harass me. That is not fair use. And your token attempts at throwing in a few words of criticism here and there so that you can call it fair use, that is just a pretext. You have all made it entirely clear that you're just trying to harass me. So that is not how fair use works. You know, I've even recently suffered a life-threatening case of pneumonia because of all the chronic psychological stress that I have suffered as a result of all of this harassment. It's ridiculous. But even that's not good enough for you. No, for the vast majority of you, you aren't going to be satisfied until I am all the way dead. So no, I'm not the villain here, I am the victim. And some of you may not know it, but I have overwhelming evidence to prove it. Now, when it comes to this ongoing litigation, I will not speak publicly on it because, any lawyer worth his salt will tell you that you need to shut up and invoke the Fifth whenever possible because anything you say can and will be used against you. What I will say, however, is that the judge has, on public record, acknowledged that I have stated a sufficient claim for relief. If I can prove everything in the complaint exactly the way I said it, then yeah, I would be entitled to recovery. The judge has acknowledged that. You know who else has acknowledged that I have a case? Multiple lawyers. Oh, I'm not gonna play the clips for you. Mostly because they're on my desktop, which is broken down right now, but also because, I have the right to attorney-client confidentiality. But while I cannot get an attorney for a price that I can afford, because you just don't get lawyers on contingency in copyright cases. It just doesn't happen. But I have had many lawyers during my free initial consultations tell me that yes, you do have a case. So that's about all I'm going to say right now on the ongoing litigation. But I just want to say this. If you won't even attempt to reach out to me, to even try to get my side of the story, I'm not the one who's ducking you at that point. You're the one ducking me. And with that, I bid you all adieu. Ace Sir Thorn out. Peace.